So before I talk about a couple ways that you can get the recognition that you want and deserve, I want to open your mind up and invite you into something that maybe you haven't thought about first. And before we can jump in to how exactly you can get the recognition that you want and deserve, I want you to consider yourself and ask yourself, have you ever downplayed a compliment? So someone that has said, oh, you've done a great job, and you're like, oh no, not a big deal. Or maybe you've achieved some level of success either on a project, or you've gotten a raise, or something great has happened, something big or small, and you haven't really acknowledged it. You've just gone on to the next thing. Now, I think that this is true for most of us. I teach this a lot, and I say that I am guilty of it as well. At least I have a heightened level of awareness about it, and I want to make sure to raise your level of awareness about it too, because in order for us to get the recognition that we want and deserve, it's very important that we recognize ourselves first. So that is the first step. So what does this do? This helps you raise your confidence. It helps you with momentum and motivation, because you're starting to track all the things that you do. You're not on this endless hamster wheel of more, never enough, never enough, never enough. I mean, that is really, really exhausting. And so it's really great for you if you can start to recognize yourself more. Also, whenever you celebrate or recognize, it's very important to recognize and celebrate the process, not necessarily the outcome. So what I mean by that is, if you have prepared 30 minutes in the morning, 3 days a week for a meeting with some key stakeholders, or if you have sent out some inquiries or made some contacts for board seats, or just really celebrate the consistent process and steps, the things that you have control over. Really celebrate those. I call those, you need to plan those into your calendar, get very clear on what those process steps are, and plan, pause, and party. So what that means is, when you take a step and you achieve like one little step of the process, plan in, just like, after I make those calls, just for a moment, I'm going to get a drink of water and call a girlfriend, or do a couple jumping jacks, or just do something to actually recognize. It doesn't have to be something, big or planned out or long, but plan it in. Of course, if you get that promotion, you get that raise, you get the big W, don't forget to really, really celebrate those too, and plan, pause, and party for those things too. And those are going to be like even more, significant. Make sure you plan those in, because a lot of times people get a promotion, they get a raise, they have more responsibility, they start getting consumed with all the things they need to do, and all of a sudden that there's been no recognition, no pause, no party, and no self-recognition. So that is really important for big wins, but also maybe even more importantly, those small process wins, those small things that you have control over that help you on your march to your ultimate impact. Now, the second thing is, when you're doing things, I want you to share them and really talk about them and share with people, especially with people who you want the recognition from, and share some things that you've been working on, some things that you've achieved, how long it's taken, and why you're so passionate about it. Now, a lot of women are not comfortable doing this. They think that it's bragging, but here's the thing. It's absolutely not bragging. I want to invite you into another perspective. Other people are not in your world, especially your managers and your leadership. They might see the results, but they don't know the blood, sweat, and tears, and also your specific and individual mindset and tools and weaponry and ninja things that you put into your work. They don't know unless you tell them. And there's a way to tell them in a way that is absolutely not bragging at all. And it's very vital. And I want you to invite you to think about it this way. If you don't start sharing what you're doing, why you're passionate about it, the time that you're spending, and also the intricacies of the things that you're doing, others aren't going to understand your level of passion, what your black belt is, your dedication. So others are really missing out. And also, most importantly is that you're going to be missing out in aligning yourself for that recognition that you want and deserve. So the first one is recognize yourself. The second one is speak up and share about all of those things that you're doing that you're proud of and why you're passionate about them. And finally, the third thing, ask. Now, this might not seem the most sexy way to get recognition by asking for it, but here's the thing. Most people in their mind, they might be thinking about how amazing you are, but everyone is extremely busy. So it's incredibly important to raise other people's awareness. A lot of times when you're not getting recognition, it doesn't mean that someone's not appreciating your work. It means that they're lacking awareness. And that happens more so, if I can make this generalization, and guys, if you're watching this, please forgive me, but there's a lot of amazing men out there that it's lacking awareness, okay? Because it's just lacking awareness. It's not anything else. And so it's very, very important for my amazing subscribers that are men, just raise your level of awareness, start checking in with people and asking more details about what they're doing, not just focusing on results. And ladies, you gotta speak up and ask for the recognition that you want and deserve. So that might be for you to get crystal clear on what is the recognition that you want. Do you want verbal recognition? Do you want, something documented in an email or a letter? Do you want compensation recognition? What is the recognition that you want, and who do you want it from? What cadence do you want it? And then that's important to have a conversation. Maybe it's for yourself or for your team. Who knows? But it's very important for you first to get clear on the recognition that you want, from whom, the cadence, and also that so you can communicate it to those people that you would want the recognition from, for yourself or for your team. Now, the first step, of course, in these 3 steps, just to review, the first step is self-recognition. The second step is to share what you're doing in detail because others do not know. And then third, to ask the people that you want the recognition from, have that conversation, but be very clear and very explicit about the recognition that you really appreciate. But keep in mind, the most important step is this first step. You need to understand what your black belt is, what you're passionate about, and hone it and own it. And so this is in the process of really owning it and taking some ownership, taking control, so you can get the recognition you want and deserve and align yourself for those key positions, promotions, making yourself top of mind, raising other people's awareness. So hone and own it. Don't be afraid to speak up. I'm here cheering you on always. I look forward to seeing you next time. You know where to find me if I can help in any way.